Welcome back. Concussion Protocol Podcast, Week 12, Part 2, The Future. We're going to talk about what's coming up this weekend, everybody. Spicy slate of games. Almost all of these that we've picked has potential playoff implications. Not all of them, but quite a few really big games and very hard to predict games. Although I will say, we say that some weeks are easier to call, and they haven't been easy at all, man. They have been just as wild as any other year of college football that you would ever try to pick. But that's not going to stop us. Chase, take it away. Week 12 pick'ems. Let's get after it.
Week 12 highlighted games, baby. Starting out strong. We had a lot of people turn out in Notre Dame's post this week for Notre Dame versus Navy. We had a lot of people telling me how stupid I am, even though I picked Notre Dame. It was a very surreal experience. But
you didn't pick them enough, Chase.
I didn't pick them enough. No, I think someone came into the comments and stated because Chance brought up, how do they keep getting away with this, that they keep having no real games and then squeaking in the playoff with 2 losses. But Notre Dame fans, this game was hyped up so much because you guys said Pitt is an amazing team. So clearly, I guess
play in the ACC. How could they not be amazing?
I guess Pitt is going to beat you guys, right? So who's going to win, guys? Notre Dame or Pitt?
The College Football Playoff Committee has them ranked, and they don't make mistakes.
Never.
Name one time that the CFP has made a mistake in their rankings, especially when it comes to an ACC team. I'll wait. But Pitt's definitely still a member of the ACC last I checked, and as much as no, I don't think that Notre Dame is as good as they're being hyped up to be. Good, yes, but that's always Notre Dame. Good, but never able to actually send it over the edge. Notre Dame's going to win this one, mostly because it's an ACC opponent. I have zero faith in the ACC. Notre Dame is playing way better down the stretch. Every single game, they look to be a little bit more disciplined. They're not perfect. They've definitely got some blemishes, but they haven't played anyone good enough to actually exploit those weaknesses. USC was probably the closest, but they couldn't put it together. And Notre Dame's offense is getting better every week. And frankly, they're an old school team that runs the ball really well. And that allows you to control the game. They have a good quarterback and an excellent running back and an excellent defense. So even if they have a slightly lackluster passing game, their running game is going to keep them in anything, and their defense is going to be stingy. So I can't say those things about.
Yeah, I mean, Pitt is an interesting team because they started off the year losing to their rival, West Virginia, and now they've belted off, I think 6 wins in a row since then. So they're definitely a solid team for the ACC. But as much as Notre Dame fans think I was dogging on them, or that we were dogging on them, nobody said that Notre Dame was a bad team. We just said that maybe they don't belong in the playoffs with this resume. But they're going to get in because they're going to beat Pitt this week because they're the better team.
Okay. I'm a little surprised you guys aren't taking a little bit more consideration into Pitt. I think they're a team on the rise. They're playing really well, sound football. I like some of the matchups that they have. They've got an awesome linebacking core. And I think that, I don't know if you can truly bottle up Love because he's a really good running back, but I certainly think they can contain him and slow him down. So it's going to be on Carr to really make the plays. Carr's shown that he's plenty capable of making the plays, but Pitt's really rolling, and it's coming from a surprising place. It's coming from their freshman QB, who is playing awesome. And I kept being told that this Notre Dame team before the season that, oh man, they're secondary. We got such good corners and everything. I haven't seen it as much. I mean, the last couple games, because we played Boston College. They've played, by the way, the bottom 3 teams in the ACC. They've had some questions in my mind on the defensive end, specifically in the secondary. And I think behind the freshman QB, if he shows poise and doesn't become a freshman, they have a chance. So I like some of the matchups. I sat here, and this was actually one of the ones that I couldn't pick, and I had a hard time until today. But something pushed me over the edge, guys. There was a question to Pitt's coach, and the question was, is this a must-win game? Simple question, right?
I saw that.
And you know what Pitt's coach said?
Yeah.
No. No, not a must win. Is it an ACC game? It's not an ACC game. I don't care if we get blown out by 100 points. All I care about is winning ACC games. Guys, this is why you have the narrative. The ACC has the narrative that you do. If you don't care about out-of-conference games, nobody cares about what you do in your conference. Nobody cares if you have a team that's 7-2 in the ACC. Because if you lose all your out-of-conference games, if you don't focus up, if you don't care about winning those games, you're going to get one team in because there's an automatic bid. That's it.
Well, he was obviously being flippant about that, but
No. I think he was being.
You cannot seriously
serious.
sit there and tell me that he actually meant that statement, that he doesn't mind going on to national television and getting blown out.
He knows
by
his way
Notre Dame.
into the playoffs. He cares more about the ACC games. This game isn't going to get into the playoffs.
That's
It's
not how
winning
I took that comment. I took that as he was making fun of the reporter for asking a really stupid question.
I think it was both. I think he was making fun of, because like every game, especially in football, is a must-win game, right? I get it, and I hate when reporters ask that, especially like in the NBA playoffs. They always ask, "It's game 3. Is this a must-win?" Well, of course, they're all must-wins. Are you kidding me? So yes, I agree with you, Connor. However, that being said, I think there's truth to it. I absolutely do. Look at Duke. We keep talking about how Duke can make the playoffs, maybe, which is 5-4.
5-4.
I think, and if I'm Pitt, I'm not totally throwing out that logic that I'm going to pay more attention and prep extra for my ACC games, because that's my pathway. Because without winning out the ACC, there's no pathway for Pitt. So those are the games that they have to pay more attention to. So yeah, I agree, Connor. He was being a little bit nonchalant and joking, but I think deep down inside, I think there's some truth to that. And I just can't take Pitt seriously now in this game. I can't unsee that comment as much as he's being nonchalant about it. I got to pick Notre Dame because of it.
For once, I feel like you're picking that based off of vibes, and I'm picking it based off of stats. But I guess
I just give you reasons why they can be competitive, but I've also given you reasons why Notre Dame can win. I'll give you another reason why that Pitt might lose. I really like their linebacking core. I don't like their secondary. They can give up a lot of big plays, very susceptible to them. Again, Carr's going to have to beat them by his arm, and I think he's capable of doing that.
But you would, if you did win this game, you would have the honor of knocking Notre Dame out of the playoffs. So,
that's very tempting.
You know.
I don't know if Pitt has taken that way, but maybe.
How much animosity is there between Pitt and Notre Dame? Maybe
a lot.
By the way, this Pitt team is the one who lost to West Virginia out of conference.
Yeah,
just saying.
Yeah, I brought that up earlier. I was like,
they've also beaten. They also beat NC State, which apparently is a harder thing to do than most people give credit for.
That's an ACC game, Connor. We care about those.
You're right. I guess, yeah, that's the ones they try at.
NC State is an ACC game, unless you're Virginia.
Virginia.
Moving on.
All right. Big 12 matchup. Could affect the playoffs, could affect the Big 12 bid.
It might.
Probably won't, but it could. You have the Arizona Wildcats going on the road against the Cincinnati Bearcats. How do you feel about it, Chance?
I'll speak up. Yeah. I think both of these teams are sneaky good. One gets a lot more recognition, Cincinnati, than Arizona, probably because they have less losses. But Arizona's got a decent defense. Again, I keep saying it that they're playing a little bit cleaner than last year, better defense, and that's making the difference. But problem is, I mean, I feel like I just dissected this team, but maybe I'm wrong with Cincinnati. They usually don't make mistakes unless it's against Utah. They try to play clean football, and clean football, I think, wins this game against Arizona because I think they're more talented. They've got more weapons. They're at home. So as long as they play their game that they typically play, they've got it.
Yeah, Arizona has talent. We've been talking about that all year, that they have talent. They just have not been able to gel at all, and they've made bad decisions. Their running back that we've been talking about since the Kansas State game, who should have way more yards, still doesn't even have 600 yards on the season. Like, their offense doesn't tend to get it done when they need to, but they are 6-3. I mean, not a lot of notable wins necessarily. Every time they've come up against meaningful competition, they've fallen well short. Their only victories are over the bottom of the barrel. I mean, you got K-State, Weber State, Hawaii, Colorado, and Kansas and Oklahoma State. That's who their victories are over. Just this season is not trending for them to win this game at all, but it could be a trap game for Cincinnati. I just don't think so. I think Cincinnati is smart enough to know that they definitely still have plenty to play for. They need some help, but they definitely are still in the conference championship game race. And so I doubt that you would have to have Cincinnati being caught sleeping, and I don't think that Cincinnati is going to get caught sleeping. As talented as Arizona is, Cincinnati is more talented. They're at home, and they have more to play for. Go Bearcats.
Well, actually, Cincinnati doesn't need any help. They went out, they're good, but they got to go through BYU. So they went out, they're getting in that Big 12 championship.
I guess if you want to say it, the looming matchup with BYU has massive implications. They don't have an easy path necessarily.
No,
they still got to go.
They definitely
through.
don't have an easy path, but they're at home for the game. So for this game though, the only way that I see Cincy losing is that they're looking ahead to BYU. That is the only way I can see them losing, because these teams statistically, if you look at their passing and their rushing yards, basically identical. Identical teams on offense.
Very similar offensive stats.
Yeah, even their defense have very similar statistics. So these should be a pretty evenly matched
turnovers that make the difference.
But there's the difference is that U of A is, Fafita hasn't been that bad. He's only had 4 interceptions, but U of A's their coaching decisions, like I said, I'm actually 3-0 when betting in the Wildcat in favor of the Wildcats this season, weirdly enough. But dude, the fact that Ismail Ahmadi only has 500 and it's only on 87 carries. They don't run him enough. They constantly give Fafita a million chances to throw the ball. And like, I get it. He's got talent. I get it. But dude, run the ball. You're running it. Your running game could look way better if you just ran. But as I said, the only way I could see them winning is basically Cincy shooting themselves in the foot, looking ahead, thinking, oh, we got to beat BYU. We got to beat them. And looking past this scary U of A team that could get it done. But they're at Cincy, so I'm giving Cincy the nod.
Arizona is the perfect trap game, though. Like,
it is. They got to be careful. But
Arizona.
It's a very obvious trap game, though. So yeah. That's all I'm saying is they would have to be asleep at the wheel, and if they are, then they don't deserve it. But I can't imagine they're actually overlooking this game. They're on way too close. They're way too close to the cliff right now to sleep on this game.
If this was at U of A, then I would probably pick U of A. But it's at Cincy, and U of A doesn't play as good on the road, excluding the Colorado blowout. They struggled against Houston and lost that game, and they don't play as good on the road. Obviously, they got destroyed by Iowa State as well.
BYU lost to Kansas last year at home.
Yeah, no, it could happen. The Big 12, you know how the Big 12 is, but I think everything is in Cincy's corner as long as they paid attention to this team and didn't overlook that. So, all right, this game also has playoff implications in the G5.
A little bit.
USF at Navy. Navy has pretty much squandered any chance that they have, but technically if they win this game, they could be in the American Conference Championship. So they need this game. Obviously USF needs this game too, but this is a tale of two very different schedules that got these teams here, and Navy looked terrible, pitiful last week against Notre Dame. That was a terrible, terrible loss. And even though I get it, it's Notre Dame, they were in the national championship last year. You didn't even have anything that made you even look hopeful. And USF, while they have choked a couple times this season now, they've played some really good games against some good teams. So I'm gonna take USF. Byron Brown is still an amazing talent, and as long as Byron isn't turning the ball over like he did against North Texas in the first half, I think they're taking this game.
Yeah, USF all the way. I said it before. I don't believe in this Navy team. Super easy schedule. Now it'll definitely be closer. I think Navy is going to be able to impose their systems a little bit better on a USF than they were on Notre Dame, and Navy, just like with the other standard triple option service academies, they're able to slow the game down is their MO. But not enough. USF is their own worst enemy this year. And that's all it's going to come down to, is if USF for some reason isn't able to capitalize on the talent that they have, then that would be the only reason that they lose. But they're wildly more athletic than Navy, and if they are able to execute their game plan to a level of quality, they would need to do a very good job at it. But they would need to make mistakes, and Navy's not the kind of team that can capitalize on an even playing field. They need to, if they were to win this game, it would be because USF made a whole bunch of mistakes, and Navy capitalized on a disproportionate amount of those mistakes. So no, give me USF. The odds are way too much in their favor.
All right. Well, I mean, one big part of this game is Blake Horvath. Is he injured still? Is he going to play? He didn't play against Notre Dame. That was a big part of that game. He's the team for Navy. So if he's not playing, it's an automatic no. If he's playing, still probably no, but they at least have a shot because he's a great talent for them. I'll read you guys off some of the scores of the last couple of games for them. They gave up 49 points to Notre Dame, 31 to North Texas, 32 to FAU, and 31 to Temple and Air Force. I mean, USF is going to score at least 30 points if that's true. And you think Navy's going to score more than 30 points on that defense? Probably not. Yeah. So give me USF in this one.
Yeah, unfortunately, when they played North Texas, I said they're probably starting a 4-game skid here because they played North Texas, Notre Dame, now they play USF, and then they play Memphis. So
right, they play nobody, and then all of a sudden they're playing people, and yeah, they're gonna lose. They lost and will lose more games.
Yeah, tough end of their schedule, but at least they were 8-0. All right. Big SEC matchup. And this did not go the way people thought it would have went last year. But this year, it's in Tuscaloosa. The Oklahoma Sooners are going into Tuscaloosa to play the Alabama Crimson Tide. Do we think they have what it takes? Do we think Mateer has what it takes?
If you would have asked me in week 3, I might have said yes. But my how much of a difference 7 weeks makes. I don't know who Oklahoma is. And this is also a different Alabama team than last year. That much is clear. I didn't like Jalen Milroe from the start, even when he took them to 11-1, 12-1, whatever it was, to the playoff against Michigan, took him to overtime. I still didn't like him back then. Ty Simpson, if there's anybody who, like, 3 best quarterbacks in the league right now, just statistically are, I mean, I hate to say Julian Saint's name yet again, but Julian Saint, Ty Simpson, and Fernando Mendoza. Ty Simpson's a player, man, and it was Jalen Milroe who lost them that game last year. Their offense was not very good, and they played well above their station in that Alabama game, but Jalen Milroe was just awful, playing well below his normal, and his normal was just okay, in my opinion, for an Alabama quarterback. Ty Simpson appears to be getting better every single week. They're at home. That place apparently just sucks the life out of every other. I swear they poison the opponent's locker room's water right before the games. I mean, it's teams just go in there and they don't look like themselves. And then you give the refs the old Alabama commission, and then things go even better. No, I don't. Alabama's got to be so salty about last year, because that game arguably kept them out of the playoff, and almost certainly is the one that kept them out of the playoff. And I feel like Alabama's been waiting for this one for an entire year, and I believe it falls on the same weekend as it did last year, maybe one earlier, but regardless, it's almost exactly 1 year. Yeah, I feel like Oklahoma's in for a rough night. Hopefully not, but I don't see any other way about it. Alabama is one of the hottest teams in the country right now, and they've fried much bigger fish than this to this point.
Yeah, but Alabama's starting to show a crack here or two. They are dominant, and you don't want to mess with Alabama, but I mean, you look at South Carolina, played it a little close. LSU, who's been a disaster and hasn't had a coach. Again, Chase, no offense, sorry. They had a chance, and LSU has no offense. So they're showing little bits, pieces that, hey, there's some vulnerability in this team. The problem is, it's so weird. There's a couple of teams that I have no idea what they are for who they are, and we're almost at the end of the season. Notre Dame is one. We talked about them because they played their somebodies and then they played nobodies. And I can't get a gauge who they are. Maybe we'll find out the next couple weeks. Who knows? But Oklahoma, I still don't know. And they've played a bunch of people. I have no idea if this is a good team, if it's masked as a good team and they're actually a bad team. But I do know one thing. They're going to Tuscaloosa. And that takes a great team to win. And I don't see a great team in Oklahoma. So give me Alabama.
Yep. It's a clean sweep as well. Unfortunately, to beat Alabama, especially on the road, you can't be just a little bit better or evenly matched with them. You have to be the better team and you have to play like the better team to beat them because, Alabama is always a good team and they are always going to get some lucky things that happen. Like there's so many years I've watched where like they'll fumble the ball, but then the guy who grabs it will be touching out of bounds, so it won't be a turnover, or a tipped pass will bobble straight into a DB's hands and the DB will touch the ground as he grabs it and it won't be a pick. Like these small little things save them so many times. And then you have the referees that get involved with these small things here and there. You can't beat this team once. You have to beat them like 15 times a game to beat them. It's unfortunate, and nobody in Tuscaloosa will admit to that, but they get so much extra chances in every game. Like they probably should have lost the South Carolina game too, but you have to beat them like 15 times a game to beat them. And while Oklahoma could beat them a couple times, and maybe if it was in Norman, it'd be a different story. I can't see them doing it again because it wouldn't be so shocking. Like last year it was shocking because they were sick. I think they were 5-6 at that point, Oklahoma, or 5-5. Like nobody was worried about it. And then they go in and they lay an egg. They only score 3 points or whatever. I think it was 24-3 or whatever it was. But
24-3. It was one of the most glorious evenings of my life.
Yeah. So this one, I guarantee they've thought about this game because they want to get their get back. Not that it's the same implications, but they would effectively ruin Oklahoma's chances with this game. So give me the Tide.
Yep. Just as Oklahoma put the coffin in the nail for Alabama last year, Alabama might do it to them this year. And I don't think they'll be able to score enough points. Simple as that. Yep. You're against this particular Alabama team, he's got to score enough points. That's not Oklahoma.
The only way it happens is the running back that played pretty well against Tennessee has to do even better this week. And then Mateer has to not turn the ball over
this season.
Yeah. And Mateer has to not turn the ball over, which he has done all year. So you have to have a lot of magic in your corner here. So the logical bet is not in Oklahoma's favor. All right. How is this a playoff affecting game? How the ACC is trash. Virginia at Duke. And since we have a resident Duke fan, apparently we will let you lead off with your Blue Devils. How do you feel about this game?
You want to hear from Connor first?
No.
Connor will follow up.
All right. Well, I have to pick Duke, right? I believe
you do, actually, if you know what's good for you.
It was predetermined that they're going to win. Look, Duke just duked all over themselves last game. They got it out of their system. And when Duke doesn't do that to themselves, they're a decent team and they can beat anybody. So they've got to do it against Virginia, right? They can't just, they can't do it again.
Who's got a quarter?
It's only out of conference games they do this to themselves. They know the ACC. Those are the games that matter, man. Nothing else matters.
Who cares if they get blown out by 100 points to UConn?
Exactly. We've all watched Virginia, and while they're an exciting team, they definitely have their vulnerabilities. So does Duke. But Duke's at home, so hopefully they can exploit some more of those than Virginia does, and I think they can pull off a exciting 44-33 victory or something like that.
Oh my gosh, Chance.
You're not going to pick against them, are you?
Of course I'm picking the Cavaliers. Of course. I refuse to believe that Duke can win this game. They can't keep getting away with this. They're 5-4, man. Give me a break. Their luck has to run out at some point. These teams are honestly stacking up fairly well against each other. Duke is the definition of a boom or bust team right now. They're like, the entire team is like Ryan Fitzpatrick. They're either going to put up 500 yards of offense or 50 yards of offense. There is no in between. And when they're playing at their best, they can beat anybody. Anybody in the ACC. Give me a break, man. No, UVA will be dead to me if they lose this one. But I have to believe in something.
They're not already dead to you?
They're dead to me except against Duke. Somebody's got to do it. Virginia is the best team that they've played in the conference, I guess. I don't know. Give me the Cavaliers, but I swear I'm going to cry if they blow it. I'm going to actually have a tear down my face just because there's no reason that you should be able to do this.
Oh, you put me in such a tough situation, both of you.
Chase, are you about to pick Duke?
This one's a pretty easy one. It's simple.
It's not simple. It's not simple.
It's not.
Because anytime you're picking Duke is not simple because you don't know which Duke you're going to get. This team is the most inconsistent team I have ever seen in my entire life that you could possibly go in. You go in, and I know Clemson's not a good team, but you go into Clemson on the road and just bang for bang with them. And then you follow it up by losing to UConn. Like, what? How? You go into Cal and dominate them. And this is when Cal was doing really well. You dominate Cal. After that, you'd lay an egg against Georgia Tech. They've laid an egg against
a Cal team that just beat Virginia.
Dude, this one has more playoff implications for our wheel spins than it has playoff implications. Like, that's so annoying. If Duke wins this game and they win out, I'm screwed. I'm probably getting 2 wheel spins because it'll somehow be Georgia Tech and Duke. And if Duke doesn't win that game, which would be very Duke of them, then I'm spinning twice for losing both. So I need that to not happen. Like, really. But the bright side is it's Duke. So they could win this game and lose next week to UNC somehow. So the real question with this matchup is Chandler Morris healthy? He went out in the second quarter with a concussion. There still hasn't been anything on if he's playing this week. They said he was good on the sideline.
You caught on. You read, Chase. Good thing ink is to paper for the rest of us.
Yeah.
I was going to mention it.
Yeah. Is he healthy? Is he coming back? The only thing we've had on him is during the game, he was on the sideline in his normal clothes. They said he felt fine. It's kind of what you're supposed to say. What are you going to say? He's dying. But it really depends. Is he there? Because he's their team. He's their team, at least offensively. And
how's Chandler Morris doing? Oh yeah, he's in rough shape. Yeah. His mom should probably come down here right now, honestly.
Yeah, he's actually
and she should bring a priest. Yeah, it's not looking good.
Actually, never playing.
Pretty sure they found leprosy in there.
Yeah, and because of that reason, I should probably switch. But you know what? Last week the fuck it bets really worked, so I'm picking Virginia.
You don't know if their QB is going to be playing. He's the heart and soul of Virginia, and you're picking against. That's all right. I'll take it. I mean, at the very least, let's say he passes and he plays. I don't know if he's going to practice all week. And be up and ready. And he is the soul of that Virginia team. So if he's not there 100%, I don't like their chances.
All good points.
Could you imagine if Darian Mensah twisted his ankle in the first, on the first opening drive?
Hey, stop that! Stop.
Could
stop
you
that
imagine?
Right now.
At the same time, if Mensah can throw interceptions to UConn, he can throw interceptions to Virginia. So, and for some reason, when Duke is at home, they don't like to play very well. So they've been at home.
That's true.
They lost to Georgia Tech at home, and they lost to Illinois in a blowout at home. So it's 3 of their losses are on the road, but still, it's a coin flip with them, dude. I don't know. I'm taking Virginia.
The real Duke is going to come out, and they're going to be victorious.
They could be, but I feel like if they do that, they are going to somehow. See. I feel like if they do that, they're somehow going to find a way to lose to North Carolina or Wake Forest somehow. It's
if they win this game, man, they've only got 2 more games that I have to sweat it out. That's it.
They should have lost to Clemson. Damn you, Clemson.
We'll find out at 2:30 on Saturday. How about that?
Dentist's favorite time. Anyway, another ACC matchup. Oh, man. Why do we even talk about the ACC?
Yeah, who picked these games,
North
right?
Carolina State at Miami. You guys have votes. You guys never opt to vote. You say like I'm a dictator. You can pick too.
Specifically Connor, but yes.
Yeah. Specifically, only one person ever complains. He's an ASU fan.
NC State is
He's
not a good football
an
team.
ASU fan, and he likes to say, give me a break a lot.
Wait. Just say that the team that beat the most underrated team in America is not a good football team?
Yeah, I did. I said that. I said they're not a good team.
Oh.
They're a terrible
The team
football
that
team.
also beat non-conference opponent Virginia?
The very same. The NC State is fighting to be out of the bottom 3 in the ACC, and that is a low place to be in this world. They're not a good football program. Their losses look bad. Their wins don't look good outside of the one, which I'm chalking up to a fluke just because Georgia Tech forgot how to tackle for a whole night. Miami, though, my gosh, I don't even know what to do with them anymore. You want to talk about an inconsistent team? I guess I'm picking Miami, but my goodness, I don't trust them. Their 2 losses look like way better losses than anybody else, though, compared to NC State's. I mean, Louisville, this is all in the lens of the ACC, just in the vacuum of the ACC. Louisville is a good team. SMU is a good team. Those are 2 very close losses, one of which was on the road. They just had what appeared to be a bounce-back victory over a team that is in this roughly, I guess, a slightly lower caliber than NC State, and it would be the most in-character thing for Miami to lose this game. But I don't think they're going to. I don't think that NC State can pull off another ranked upset on not going on the road to do it. I hate to put my faith in Carson Beck, but I have more faith in Carson Beck than I do in the entirety of NC State.
Miami, here's the bright side, Miami. You're Miami. You've gotten your choke games out of the way. You should sail the rest of the way, right? Right? I would hope so.
Right?
I would hope so. If you want to talk about battered Aggie syndrome, how about battered Cane syndrome? This is crazy. I'm picking Miami. NC State, if they pull this out, they are literally the Kansas of this season. If they pull that out, the ACC should not get a bid at that point. There's just no point. But yeah, I'm taking the Canes. Come on, Carson Beck. No more interceptions, man.
Connor, I disagree with you on NC State, man. I almost think that NC State is the most entertaining team in the country because you've got Hollywood Smothers, who his name alone is freaking awesome, right? And he's a stud. And CJ Bailey is incredible. He tears it up, man. Both those guys are just such a fun 1-2 punch. The issue with NC State, as incredible of an offense and as much of a show they put on, is their defense is cheeks, man. So bad. They can't stop anybody. And Miami is going to light them up on offense. And they'll probably find some turnover to make the score in their favor. So Miami wins. But I think it's going to be a fun game, at least, watching them. Because, I mean, if any chance I can to watch an NC State game, I'm all in. Love that team.
They are super fun to watch. I've watched now a few of their games, and they are really fun to watch. But their defense is cheeks, like you said.
It's so bad.
All right, this one is interesting for a conference that is usually not very interesting. This game is interesting. You have a stout defensive team in Iowa going on the road very, very far to USC to play a team that is all offense. How we liking them, Connor? How you liking the Trojans? How you liking the Hawkeyes?
So if this game was in Iowa, I would pick the Hawkeyes all day long, and I might live to regret this. This is a really tough decision. I watched pretty much the vast majority of that game last week, the Oregon-Iowa game.
It was one of the few we could watch.
Yeah, and there's just nothing about this Iowa team that I like outside of their defense, and I feel like they have a lot of reasons to be deflated after losing that game that they had every right to win. Every chance to win, every opportunity. USC at home is a very tough environment, and USC does have a whole lot to play for right now. They're only one game out of being in the conference championship, and it's a very close loss that a lot of people thought should have gone the other way against Illinois, but they had it not been for that last second field goal, they would be right up there 6-0 in conference play, probably knocking on the door of the top 10 just alongside Indiana and Ohio State. But instead they're trapped in this weird nether region with Oregon and Michigan, and Iowa's coming to town. I
want to take
Iowa
on this
just
guy.
had-
This is not how he talked about them the entire time since that game. He is not
I hate their guts.
He is not once validated that they won that Illinois did not deserve that game. He watched the kick happen. That is the only thing he watched. He admitted that on camera.
I still called it. That's all I'm saying, man.
And he still never acknowledged that they didn't deserve that win. And now he's acting like he's acknowledged
I'm
it
saying
the whole
that
time.
a lot of
The
people
whole
thought
time.
they didn't deserve it. Let me make my
Roll the
pick,
tape.
okay? I'm not changing my opinions. They did win that game, and they won it fair and square. I'm just saying it was a controversial win. Some people have said, not me, but some people have said, regardless, my point being that they are one controversial win or controversial loss away from being undefeated in conference play. If they play up to the now, and here's where I'm really having a hard time with it, because usually the philosophy is defensive teams win against, like, if you're an exclusively defensive team, you will usually win against an exclusively offensive team. I just think that Iowa's offense is so bad that even though they have a very good defense, going on the road against a team with everything on the line, I think USC is going to be able to make the plays happen because they're more explosive than Oregon this year. They are. Oregon has an excellent offense, as they often and always do, but USC has has way more of a deep threat than Oregon does, and they're at home. That environment in the Coliseum is tough. Iowa's likely to be feeling pretty deflated right now, and USC has everything on the line, and they should be aware of it. So give me the Trojans. As much as I hate to say it, it's just, Iowa. I said it last week. I was like, I don't even really want to talk about Iowa. They're going to find a way to lose. They did. So I don't see them winning the games that matter. It's Iowa.
This is a tough game because Dante Moore went in and he really struggled against Iowa.
It was also in the rain and borderline snow.
Fair.
LA ain't going to be like that.
And USC's not a one-dimensional team per se. They can still run the ball really well.
And their passing attack being so good opens up running lanes too.
Yeah, I did. But Oregon ran the ball really well last week against
they
Iowa.
couldn't punch it in.
They couldn't punch it in, but they ran really well. It was the passing attack, right, that they really bottled up. But and again, it's very helpful that USC can still run the ball just in case that happens with them. Do I trust USC's defense to do anything against these guys? USC's again another team where I have no idea on these guys. How are we this far in the season and I still don't have any idea with most of these teams? It's crazy. I think USC's playoff chances are going to survive one more week. Give me USC in a 23-20 shootout.
Shootout for the Hawkeyes, huh?
For the Hawkeyes, that is
the first time they've been accused of that.
Yeah, I still don't know what happened with that Minnesota game. That was crazy seeing them score so many points, even with special teams. And oh man,
hey, Wisconsin 37-0 as well.
I think the big matchup with these teams is, can USC stop the run? If they can stop the run, it's all USC. If they could slow it down enough, like, you don't have to stop them every drive, but you have to stop them. You can't let them get touchdowns through the run. You have to force Iowa to throw the ball. It's what Oregon did. Oregon out physicality Iowa on the road, and so they're the better team. And I'm still not sold on Oregon. I think that they're somehow still overhyped, being less hyped than they would have been in other years. But I think USC's offense is so good that I think there's a difference. Iowa's defense is really good, but I think that USC's offense is a little bit better and enough to score enough points to outweigh that. So the only thing that I think that USC really needs to worry about is special teams. You can't punt to this guy on Iowa. He is very good at scoring on special teams plays or setting him up with great field position. So if you can do what Oregon did and limit that guy, you're golden. So I'm taking the Trojans as well.
Next week, USC plays Oregon. If they win this week, that's going to be a game.
Yeah.
I have no idea what would happen.
Pac-12 matchup, baby.
Pac-12
With
matchup.
playoff implications.
And
by the way, Iowa just signed, I think, a stud QB, if you guys can believe it. I've been following him for a little bit.
Better than CJ Beathard.
Better than CJ Beathard, who was perpetually a backup in the NFL and still around somehow, I think. Traden Bessinger, sorry. Utah native. Iowa just beat out BYU, probably because BYU signed a 5-star QB and he was going to be a backup the whole time. But that dude's a rock star. So if somehow he converts and does well for Iowa, who knows?
How were those his two choices is my question. I want to know more about this guy. Why was Iowa his second team? That's crazy. But good for them.
He probably thought what nobody else thinks. Like, dang, I can go to Iowa and that defense can carry me. And as if I'm just a decent QB, we should be good. The problem is being a decent QB.
Who are you going to throw to?
He'd only ever he doesn't know what the horizon looks like. He's only ever seen mountains.
He's going to look like
he wanted to go somewhere where he could see really, really far.
He's going to look like Drew Aller out there, dude. I don't know if that's the play.
Maybe.
But
don't wish that on your worst enemy.
He's got plenty of years to transfer, though. Yeah. All right. This game is huge for one side. Texas going on the road to Georgia. Texas needs this game. Texas needs this game. And last season, they played Georgia twice. And how did that go for them both times? Oh, they
called him daddy.
They lost. And last year, that was a neutral field game and a game in Austin at home. This year, it's in Athens. It's in Athens. In Georgia, while they did lose to Alabama, they lost by 3 at home. And then they beat an Ole Miss team at home. So Georgia's been there, done that. Texas.
Chase, this team doesn't die.
Yeah, I know they don't. But they do this week. Go Dogs.
Attaboy.
Chase, this team does not die.
They do this week.
Paul Feinbaum said Texas is gonna win. Okay.
Chance, if they had limped through that Mississippi State game this week, I actually probably would have leaned towards Texas just because of momentum. Georgia and Gunnar Stockton have seemed to figure some stuff out, and while Texas has really limped through their games lately, Arch played amazing against Vandy. Vandy's defense sucks. LSU almost scored 30 on them. Vandy's defense sucks. So
Auburn put up a ton of points on him.
Yeah, Auburn. Okay, plain and simple. Georgia's
Diego Bobby had to give it his all.
Their playoff chances die this week. They might be able to piss off their rivals at the end of the year, but Georgia's gonna walk.
Hey, Connor, you got one thing wrong. Paul Feinbaum says no losers. They both win. Go SEC.
SEC is going to get all 12 spots.
I don't even watch.
Yes, there are no losers. This is going to be top to bottom. Just the whole playoff is just the SEC. Nobody cares about Texas Tech. Texas Tech is trash. Michigan or Ohio State is trash. Oregon, who's ever even heard of Oregon?
I don't know who these other teams are. Are there colleges outside the SEC?
Texas A&M all the way down to Mississippi State. If you're bowl eligible in the SEC, you're going to be in the playoff.
Every week, these Longhorns are so resilient, and give them credit for it. However, it takes an incredible team, just like Alabama, where they've got 15 lives, right? And you have to beat them through all 15 lives, especially when their lives are on the line, and you have to throw everything at them. It takes a better team from the beginning to the end to beat them. And finally, we have a team that is good enough to do that in the Dogs. And they're going to put down this Texas team for good. And if not, I'm going to pick Texas the rest of the way because it's destiny that they'll make it if they win this game.
You're gonna pick them against A&M too?
If they win this game, I will pick them against A&M.
Yeah, I would strongly consider it. Yeah. I just don't see it. And just even past the vibes, like statistically, the passing game is almost identical, but Arch has thrown a lot more picks. Although in Arch's defense, he's played cleaner as the season has gone on, but he has definitely thrown way more picks than Gunnar Stockton. Gunnar Stockton, we've been talking about this the whole time, that Gunnar Stockton has not needed to be a hero. When they need him to make plays, he has made plays. But their running game is so diverse and their defense is so stout that he has just needed to be a good quarterback. We don't know how good Gunnar Stockton really is because we haven't needed to see him be amazing. We've needed to see Arch Manning on many occasions go into hero mode. And sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. But we know that Georgia has at least been in control every time except against Alabama in a field goal loss against one of the hottest teams in the country. And it was an Alabama game, so there's always weird stuff that happens. There's always refereeing shenanigans. Georgia had opportunities and failed. We can call it an outlier. At this point, we can call that an outlier, and I would really be hesitant to compare Texas and Alabama at this point in the season. Texas is a lot better team than they appeared to be at the beginning of the year. They are putting it together. But Georgia never really had a question mark, to be quite honest. A field goal loss against Alabama, I'm not going to hold that over them, especially when they've got many other meaningful wins. They had Texas's number last year twice. And
a Texas team that seemed like it was better last year, right?
Texas definitely seemed better last year. Absolutely.
But maybe Georgia did too.
Okay, so if they both dropped off by the same amount, then that would still mean that there's a difference, an equal difference. So, but I don't think that Georgia dropped by as much. And when I honestly am not even willing to necessarily say that they dropped all that much. I don't know. I don't know if we've had the opportunity to see this Georgia team be. I mean, they're 7-1. What do you want from them? They're only 8-1, 6-1 in conference. They've got a top 10 opponent, or they've got a top 10 win, top 15 win against a big time rival and a field goal loss. Like, they're 2-1 against ranked opponents. It's hard to find flaws with this team. Their quarterback's good, their running game's good, their defense is good. Like, their coaching staff is outstanding. They've got a long legacy, and their only blemish is against another top 10 team.
They've played a lot of
people are sleeping on this team, and only
recently.
because Georgia has tended to come up short. But no, I don't see any reason to doubt that Georgia can win this game. But Texas has been playing like zombies lately. They just won't go away. So hopefully it'll be an entertaining game, but I see no reason to suspect. I was picking Vandy off of vibes a lot last time.
It's funny that you compared Texas to Alabama, because both of them, in order for basically Connor's nightmare scenario to happen, where the SEC gets 5 teams in, you need Alabama to either lose this week to Oklahoma, or you need Georgia to lose this week to Texas, is probably how it's going to pan out. But if that doesn't happen, it's probably going to be 4 teams.
All right, moving on.
Well,
we're unanimous on Georgia.
All right, you're good. Go ahead.
All right, this game looked a lot more exciting last week until the Rainbow Warriors destroyed San Diego State. Still don't know how that happened. But Boise State on the road against San Diego State. The Mountain West Championship, pretty much. At least one of the bids. I'm going to take the Broncos. I think the one time I bet against the Broncos this year did not go in my favor. So did the time that I bet for the Broncos, to be fair, against USF. But it seems to me that normally, when it's a Mountain West game, unless it's Fresno State, that Boise State is going to handle their business. And San Diego State just looked lifeless last week. I'm going to go with the trend and say Boise State wins the game. And somehow, even with how bad they've looked, makes their conference championship anyway.
That would be the most Boise State way to go, to be in clearly the worst year that they've had in a lot of years and still manage to at least make the conference championship. And if they do, they've got a good as shot as anybody. This conference is wide open. I hate picking against the Broncos.
Then don't do it. You don't have to. Nobody's forcing you.
I know, but I get it. And they're heavily favored in this one. I mean, I guess
They are?
not in the spread, but the analytics is favoring them. The spread is favoring San Diego a
San Diego
little
State
bit.
just got blown out by Hawaii.
Yeah, but Boise State has looked like they have one of the worst passing attacks out there, and they just got
What?
manhandled by this to the same degree by Fresno State. Fresno State and Hawaii are almost identical in their stat lines, and
Maddox Madsen was
just-
the preseason player of the year for the Mountain West Conference.
you just want to get the win over. I'm picking San Diego State, though I hate to bet against the Broncos. I can't bring myself to do it. I don't trust this Boise State team. I have not seen something out of them to make me believe in them. They're too inconsistent with this much data. Because I don't even count the UNLV win as a meaningful thing anymore. Because UNLV has just fallen off. Like,
Must be bad coaching.
probably. If only someone had warned everybody about that.
Here's my biggest problem with the Broncos is I don't know how they're gonna throw the ball effectively without Maddox Madsen, who's out for the year. His backup has not shown.
You jerk! I wasn't even tracking that. No wonder you're trying to get me to flip.
Sorry, Chase. Yeah, Max Cutforth has not looked good in the backup role. And against the now number 4, formerly number 2 defense, I don't think that San Diego State is going to regress back to that Hawaii game, especially if the other team can't throw the ball. I think that they're going to be able to run and pound and play defense and beat up Boise State.
You suck. Anyway,
I feel like
you know I couldn't watch these games, right?
you could have looked it up.
You suck. Anyway, I hope Duke loses hard this week. Anyway, Kennesaw State at Jackson State, basically the CUSA championship, at least one of the wins.
Am not even gonna pretend like I know anything about these teams other than that Kennesaw State historically is a bottom 10 team. The other Owls, as they're known. I'm picking Jack State just because I figured you guys have been pretty high on Kennesaw State, and if there was a time for them to fumble, I guess it'd be now. I'm not even going to sit here and act like I know anything about either of their teams other than Kennesaw State is having a pretty good year compared to previous years. That is as much of my knowledge on these two teams. I don't even know what their mascot
Gamecocks.
is, Jacksonville. What's that?
Gamecocks.
Oh, so this is the other Owls versus the other Gamecocks? Okay. All right. I learned something new.
Yeah, man, this is a tough game. I think I trust the home team a little bit more in this game. It's a tight battle, and if you look at Vegas, ESPN, all of it, it's really close. Both teams are not very keen on throwing the ball, especially Jackson State, but even Kennesaw State. Just they can't throw it. They depend on running the ball a lot. So it's going to be a running marathon. And when that happens, I typically go with the home team. So I'm going to go with Jacksonville State.
Fair enough. I looked at this game quite a bit because like I said, I've been watching these teams on Wednesdays a lot. They've actually given some pretty interesting games, and not the same ones as the like Sam Houston UTEP games that were horrible to watch. These ones were actually kind of fun to watch. So both these teams are pretty interesting. Jackson State runs the ball a little bit more effectively than Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State throws the ball a little bit more effectively than Jackson State. The difference, I think, really is defense. Kennesaw State's defense, I think, is quite a bit better than Jackson State. It's not super crazy, but I think Kennesaw State has a better defense. The only downside to Kennesaw State, other than it being on the road, is that they just lost their best receiver for the year. He only had about 550 yards, so it's not like he was their only guy catching the ball, but he is their best receiver, and he's out for the season. So that could hurt.
That's a third of their yards, by the way. More than a third of their yards.
Yeah. But I think that they can make do. I think the big difference here is the kind of matchups that these teams have played. Jackson State has basically won 90% of their games like really close. Even Sam Houston, they won by 2 points. On the road at Sam Houston. They beat Middle Tennessee by 3 points on the road. They beat UTEP by 3 points on the road. Kennesaw State has lost 2 games this year. I brought it up earlier in the previous episode. They lost by 1 point to Wake Forest on the road, and they lost to the number 2 team in the country with the best player in the world, Fernando Mendoza, Connor, by 50. But so did a ton of teams. So did Illinois. So did Indiana.
Mostly because they ran out of time to keep scoring
Indiana
touchdowns.
likes to run up the score on every team, so I'm not going to take it personally that they did that to Kennesaw State. Good for them. I think Kennesaw State is the better team. It's really, can they adjust to having a new wide receiver one? So I'm taking Kennesaw State.
Right. That is your Week 12 pick'ems. This is going to be a massively influential week in college football. Last week was a little quiet. Mostly the nail in the coffin for the ACC, as far as was that episode of SpongeBob where they go to visit the graveyard and Squidward's there laying flowers at the grave of his own hopes and dreams.
Here lies Squidward's hopes and dreams.
Squidward's hopes. Here lies the ACC's hopes and
What
dreams.
a baby.
Yeah, it's a rough time to be in that conference. Maybe you shouldn't have jumped ship so quickly there, Stanford and Cal, but not salty about it. Would never be salty about the
Jumped
Pac-12.
what ship? Everybody crumbled around them, and then they said, fine, I guess the ACC's all that's left.
Anyways, let's close it out. The Vegas picks for this week. I'm going with a big combination bet. This is the longest parlay I've done all season. I'm trying to keep it a little bit safer for you guys. I got a 6-leg parlay here, plus 408. So $20 wager would pay $101. So 5x your money. It's so long because I picked a lot of more favored teams than I've been picking a lot of higher risk matchups. Trying to take a little bit different tact this week. Money line. UConn beating Air Force. If you can beat Duke, you should be able to beat Air Force, especially at home. Air Force is having a rough couple of years, and UConn is a team that is getting back into the respectable tiers of college football. They used to be legitimate threats pretty much every year, not necessarily national championship contenders, but they were not a team to be taken lightly, but fell on some rough times over the last 10 years or so. They're on an upswing again. They really are. And they're not a team to be taken lightly. And Air Force, it's gonna be a while before they're fighting for the President's Cup, the Commander-in-Chief's trophy, rather. Sorry. South Florida, money line over Navy. I don't think Navy has a single shot, not a hope, not a prayer. In that game, discussed that one already. Michigan at Northwestern. Again, you guys might be seeing a trend here. I'm parlaying together a whole bunch of what should be easily predictable games, but you never know. It's all college football. Northwestern has been scrappy this year. Michigan, though, as we discussed, still has a lot to play for. They're a sneaky 7-2 right now, and I don't think they're going to make the playoff, but I don't think that it's going to be at the hands of Northwestern that's going to keep them out of it. Putting my money where my mouth is as far as Notre Dame beating Pittsburgh. I don't think Pitt has a shot. I don't. I gave my reasoning earlier on that one too in the breakdown. LSU over Arkansas. Money line again. Yeah, Chase.
Are you sure about
Arkansas? The least clutch team in college football. LSU is finally gonna snap their streak. They've been on a bit of
LSU gonna score enough points to keep up with Arkansas?
Because Arkansas has no clutch. This might be the riskiest pick of the week, honestly.
that one's probably
LSU.
the riskiest pick of the week.
But I am picking them regardless.
Did you see my eyes go wide the second you said that?
I did.
I'm not.
LSU's defense is way better than their offense, and they're not playing Alabama. They're playing Arkansas, who I understand has a high-powered offense. But and who better to take that out on than Arkansas at Death Valley? No,
nope,
my friend.
on the road.
Arkansas at LSU. That's what the app says. That's what the website says.
Yep, you're right. It is.
Yeah.
It'll be a morning game, though, so those fans won't be drunk, and they probably won't fill up the stadium.
They won't be drunk enough, Chase, but they will be drunk, I guarantee you. They sold the second most amount of alcohol of any college football stadium, only to, I believe it was Wisconsin, wasn't it? That stat came out. Wisconsin or Minnesota.
That team needs to drown its sorrows.
Yeah.
Big win, though.
And then Utah at Baylor. I'm riding kind of high on the Utes now. I think they're a scary team, and this is the kind of thing that Baylor is really good at losing this game.
Remember that conversation about Utah and them being scary? Remember that, Connor?
Yeah, they're spicing it up, man. They've made believers out of me a little bit. So, all right. UConn, South Florida, Michigan, Notre Dame, LSU, and Utah, all money line, no spreads, no overs, no unders, no nonsense, straightforward parlay betting, plus 408. Put 20 on it, you get 100 out. That is the Vegas picks of the week. This has been the Concussion Protocol Podcast. Thank you for joining us. As always, give you some smart claps. This is going to be a fun weekend. We will be here with you every step of the way. Go Devils. I got to say it just one time. Sun Devils, that is, not Blue Devils. Haven't brought them up all week. I see you, though. I see you with West Virginia coming to town. We'll be there. Stick with us. We'd love to hear from you. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.